Hi folks, I was getting ready to shoot a dress rehearsal of the boat because I've got most of the systems installed. Got the motors installed, rudders, everything's ready to go. But I know that I post a lot of pictures on Facebook and most of them are close-ups. And I know a lot of you have not seen the boat or haven't seen the boat for quite a while. So I thought before I start posting pictures of the little systems test, I would just give you a big tour of the boat for those of you who haven't seen it. And it's about 57 inches long and about 9 5/8 inch in beam. And this is what it's made out of. It's foam, actually used for under floors, so it's quite a dense foam, covered with 2 layers of fiberglass and epoxy. And the fiberglass comes from welding blankets, so it's pretty heavy. One of the things I wanted to do was make the boat, I hate to use the word unsinkable, so I'm not going to do that, but I wanted to make it as survivable as possible. So the compartments in here are quite small. This section here is actually solid foam. And there's a section between the battery compartment and the motor compartment. Again, solid foam at the back. I tried to avoid using wood as much as possible, but for some of the trim pieces, wood was the only thing that was practical because it would have taken too long to tool up to mold something in epoxy. So it's got a wooden keel, rubbing strakes of wood. The shear strake is wood, but it's all coated with epoxy. In fact, the keel is actually fiberglassed. It's got fiberglass cloth on top of the wood. This is just a working stand. It's not a display stand because it's pretty ugly. I'll just kind of tip it over just to give you a kind of a look at what's going on in here. Battery compartment is here, very very small. It's enough to hold the battery. I didn't want a big open space because anywhere there's open space, that's space that water can get in. Motor compartment here, rudder at the back. I will just show you some of the things that I got. This is the battery. It's a 12 volt sealed lead acid, 7 amp hours. That's going to be the main driving force. I've got several different wiring harnesses with these little XT60 connectors on it, so I can sort of mix and match things to get the length right and decide if I want to run the engines or the motors in parallel or run them in series. The old MCD speed control, this actually dates to the 1990s, but it works very well. It's a 30 amp speed control. Again, it's all fitted with the XT60 connectors. The boat's actually quite simple, even though it's a large boat, it's basically steering and throttle. I don't have any operating bits on it, so it's actually simpler than a model airplane. Steering and throttle, that's all there is to it. That's the radio receiver, and again, I got kind of a collection of wiring harnesses on here. This is that's the receiver. This is the battery eliminator circuit, because the old speed control does not have one built in. Most of the new ones do. They come with battery eliminator circuits, but that's an old speed control that doesn't have one, so I bought one separately. So I've got a little harness here, so I can turn the battery eliminator circuit on. And again, I sort of enjoy making these harnesses for some strange reason. This is the actual radio transmitter that I'm going to use. It's a FlySky. It's a 10 channel. This is, I think, probably the most popular radio in the world. You can use this on anything. It's sold under a whole bunch of different brand names. Model airplane guys use them. And here's the motor I chose, and I'm not 100% sure about this. These are the motors. I'm using 2 of these. These are 895s. These are big, heavy motors. They come in 6,000 RPM and 3,000 RPM variants. I put 3,000 RPM motors in this boat. Don't know if I made the right choice, but that's why we'll test it out. And if it's wrong, we'll discover that. But anyway, I've been putting the systems in it during the winter time because, of course, Winnipeg, you can't do much painting outdoors. But I'm getting ready to paint it now. I'm kind of finishing up the mechanical work. Anyway, I think that's about it. Again, just to give you a quick tour, those of you who aren't familiar with the boat, and in the next couple of days, I'll be hooking up the speed control, putting the battery in, and basically giving it a full dress rehearsal. Just essentially operating it just as it would be in the water. I've got to do a full superstructure on it yet, and I haven't done any of that. And those of you who've known my model boat building endeavors in the last 20 years know that I'm not a big detail guy. I like building hulls, but I'm not a big detail guy. But anyway, for those of you who have not seen the boat before, that's what it looks like.